So what we're looking at here, this isn't just a movie, it's more like an argument. This is Jukti Takko Aar Gappo, the final, and I mean radical masterpiece from director Ritwik Ghatak. And today, we're going to break down how this film was literally designed not just for you to watch it, but to wrestle with it.
Okay, so let me just ask you this. What if a film's goal wasn't to make you feel good, not to entertain you at all, but to actually disturb you? You know, to kind of shake you up and force you to face something really difficult. Because that's exactly what this film is trying to do.
All right, first things first. To really get this film, you have to understand the mind behind it, Ritwik Ghatak. Now, he was this incredible Bengali director whose work was honestly way ahead of its time. And for a long time, he was super underrated. But today, his films are seen as absolutely essential viewing, mainly because of their deep social conscience and their totally unflinching look at reality.
You see, a huge theme, you could almost say an obsession, in all of Ghatak's work was the trauma of the partition of Bengal. That feeling of being uprooted, of losing your identity. It's everywhere. And this film, its title translates to Reason, Debate, and a Story. This was his final and probably his most personal statement on all of that. When it came out in 1974, it was basically his last, most intense confrontation with the chaos of his era.
So, a film this complex, how do we even begin to unpack it? Well, I think the best way is to peel it back like an onion, layer by layer. And the first layer, the one on the surface, is the story itself. And on the face of it, it's a pretty simple plot about a guy who loses everything and just starts walking.
So we meet our main character, Nilkantha Bagchi. He's this alcoholic intellectual, and get this, he's actually played by the director, Ghatak himself. The film kicks off and boom, his wife leaves him. He's thrown out of his home, and he basically sums up his entire existence with this one line: I am a broken intellectual.
But here's the thing. Nilkantha doesn't stay alone for very long. He kind of starts collecting other outcasts. First, there's a young refugee from Bangladesh. Then, a jobless teacher who's running from political violence. And finally, his own brother, who's also unemployed. So you have this little band of misfits, all of them totally uprooted, and they just start wandering the streets of Kolkata with no real plan.
And when I say they have no plan, I mean it. Their journey doesn't really have a destination. It's not about getting somewhere specific. It's more of a desperate search for something they've lost, you know? They're looking for a connection to a more real, a more authentic way of life. This kind of folk spirit that they feel has just been completely crushed by the modern city.
Okay, but this whole journey, it's not really just about a few lost souls. And that's where we get to the second layer of this film, where things get really interesting. Because these people, they're not just characters. No, they're powerful symbols that are telling a much bigger story. Think of this as the film's secret language, its hidden code. Every single character represents a piece of post-partition Bengali society. So you've got Nilkantha, the destroyer of illusions. Then there's Bangabala, who isn't just a refugee woman, she is the land of Bengal itself, broken and displaced. You've got the teacher, representing ancient knowledge that's now totally useless. And the engineer, representing educated youth with no jobs, no future. And then there's their son, Satya, whose name literally means the truth. It's incredible.
So once you know that, when you see these characters interacting and arguing, you realize you're not just watching a few people on a road trip. You're watching an entire society having an argument with itself. It's a huge allegory for a culture that's wrestling with its shattered past and just desperately hoping that Truth, the little boy, can somehow find a future.
So, the big question is, how does Ghatak make sure we actually see all this deep stuff, instead of just getting swept away by a sad story? Well, that brings us to our third layer, the film's technique. He uses this really specific style, inspired by the playwright Bertolt Brecht, and the whole point is to stop you from just switching off your brain and getting emotional.
What he's trying to do is turn you, the viewer, into what's called an active spectator. See, Ghatak doesn't want you to just lean back with your popcorn and passively consume his movie. No way. He wants to force you to lean in, to participate, to question everything you're seeing, and to think really hard about what it all means.
And he's got a few tricks up his sleeve to make this happen. For one, characters will just turn and look right at the camera, talking directly to you. The story is constantly being interrupted by these sudden, jarring cuts that don't seem to make sense. And this is a big one. He completely avoids the usual melodrama you'd see in Indian cinema at the time. There's no big emotional cry fest. Every single choice he makes is designed to keep you at arm's length, forcing you to think and analyze instead of just getting lost in the feeling.
Yeah, there's this great quote from the scholar D.O. Vahali, who says the whole film is framed by these interruptions. You'll see things like a silent old man just staring into the camera, or these strange masked figures dancing. These moments are totally designed to snap you out of it, to break the story's spell. It's like Ghatak is tapping you on the shoulder and saying, hey, remember, you're watching a film. Now help me figure out what it all means.
Okay, so we've peeled back the plot, we've decoded the symbols, we've looked at the technique, and now we finally get to the film's core message. And I'm going to warn you, it is not a comforting one. It's a really, really unsettling question that served as Ghatak's final statement to the world. So after this whole long journey, filled with all this debate and reason and argument, the story just ends, abruptly and violently. There's a police shootout with some young revolutionaries, and our protagonist, Nilkantha, the intellectual, the guy who's supposed to destroy illusions, he gets caught in the crossfire, and he's killed.
I mean, just stop and think for a second about how different that is from a normal movie. Usually, the hero solves the big problem at the end, right? Well, here, the hero is just gone, eliminated. We go into a movie expecting some kind of resolution, some closure. But here, every single problem the film brought up is just left completely unsolved. There is zero catharsis, nothing.
So you have to ask, why on earth would he end the film like that? Well, it's not just about being depressing. It's about something much bigger, a concept called a call to praxis. And the basic idea is that art shouldn't just make you contemplate the world. It should actually push you, provoke you into changing it.
And this is Ghatak's final, absolutely devastating message. The storyteller, Nilkantha, who we know is basically Ghatak, is dead. But all the problems he spent the whole film arguing about, they're still here. By killing off the main character, Ghatak is essentially passing the torch to us. He's saying, look, the artist is gone, there's no hero coming to save the day. The solution? Well, that's on you now.
And that is the deeply disturbing question that the film leaves you with. It's not just an ending. It's a challenge thrown right off the screen and into your lap. The storyteller's gone, the story isn't finished, so the film leaves us asking, who's going to step up now? Who's going to write the ending to this story?